And I'm free falling. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to StillerBros at the Movies, and today we are exploring uncharted territory for this year, at least. A completely original movie.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It feels like forever.
So anyway, Sean Levy, the TV director who for a while was probably best known for the famous Jet Jackson movie, and also the Steve Martin Cheaper by the Dozen, the Steve Martin Pink Panther,
The first one, anyway. And the entire Night at the Museum trilogy.
Real Steel, and Stranger Things.
Surprisingly, he's probably one of the only directors to actually break out into mainstream directing from a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah, he started basically, like I was just saying, he basically started his career as directing children's television. He directed episodes of Jet Jackson, a made-for-TV Lassie movie, The Secret World of Alex Mack, and now here he is, and now he's broken out into that to directing major blockbusters.
And and most recent now, it's been 7 years since he put out a movie. His most recent, with the last Night at the Museum, he movie, but his most recent efforts have been producing and directing for television again.
He's directed most recently one of the most prolific being Stranger Things, and he's also produced he's also been producing a lot of more ambitious sci-fi movies.
Like he produced Arrival.
And other things like that. Sean Levy did not go away. By the way, Sean Levy, no relation to Dan and Eugene.
Yeah.
That I know of.
Yeah, but now he seems to be having his little moment by teaming up with Ryan Reynolds, because now, a few months, as of like 6 months ago, he just finished his next movie with Ryan Reynolds, which is also kind of a 13 going on 30 reunion, because it has Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner on that. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about this, Free Guy.
Now, the interesting thing about this and his next movie is the fact that they're both kind of playing into the wheelhouses that he's been building over the years. Both are incredibly ambitious sci-fi stories, but also wacky family comedies.
And they are also 100% original concepts. I think the next one's an original concept. I don't 100% know.
But Free Guy is a completely original story, or at least as original as you can in this day and age, where we acknowledge that we've only got that Hollywood has only created 7 stories, and it keeps making them over and over and over again.
Yes, this tells the story of Ryan Reynolds as an NPC in
the video game kind, not the bad kind.
Not the dumbass Twitter troll kind. But he's an NPC in a video game, in a GTA-style open-world online video game,
who finds out that he is an NPC. Well, as much as you can without your entire world. He finds out about the video game logic and decides to become a hero in a world full of people who just basically fuck shit up.
Yeah, he is. But that's the concept, and it seems like a pretty damn good concept for a movie.
And yeah, with Ryan Reynolds in it, basically it is just another step in Ryan Reynolds showing, wow, Hollywood did not know what to do with you for the longest time, did they? Because because I think we all can remember in 2009 when Ryan Reynolds was in a bunch of starring roles in movies. He's mostly romantic comedies and and a couple action movies and stuff like that, where it's like looking back now, it's like they did not know how to use him, but now it's like, wow, he's a fantastic comedic actor who just happened to be way too pretty for most comedic movies, so Hollywood didn't know to put him in wacky comedies.
Yeah, it is a very interesting career dynamic of Ryan Reynolds, because for the longest time when he started making movies, he was not. They clearly were not sure what to do with him for the longest time.
Granted, he started with one of his big starts was Van Wilder and Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, and all that other. And it's not like that cameo in Harold and Kumar. It's not like he was not showing up in comedies. It's just that when he married Scarlett Johansson and did X-Men Origins Wolverine and The Proposal and whatever that How I Met Your Mother thing was.
Yeah, he was really struggling to find his footing as an actor, and that continued pretty much and his entire thing, and his entire little renaissance he had in the late '80s, early 10s, pretty much began and ended when Green Lantern came into the picture.
Now, it's not to say that everything he did was bad in that time period. There's a reason he's stuck around this long. Basically, he was that romantic for that time, the handsome romantic comedy lead who could actually be fun, who was actually funny. But once Deadpool came, but after years and years and years of fighting to get Deadpool out, and then Deadpool coming out, it becoming a rousing success, and every movie studio being like, oh, we finally know what we can do with Ryan Reynolds. We finally got Ryan Reynolds could finally be allowed to be funny in that way, and even when he's not actually technically playing Deadpool, be the self-aware jokester in the movie.
Like he did, obviously he had his high points and his low points in his career, and there was a time where he was not in as much stuff as he is now. He did have his difficulty getting to the surface. He did several different projects, some of them very interesting, like The Voices,
or Buried, Paperman, that kind of stuff.
And then there was some more generic-ish fare, like Lady in Gold and stuff like that.
And of course, like most Hollywood stars, he had to lend his voice to a DreamWorks movie at some point. So Turbo
and the Croods.
But obviously he's on a bit of an upswing because, like I said, studios finally figured out what they could do with Ryan Reynolds.
To the point that he has actively made his outward persona basically just him playing Deadpool in real life.
Which he also has admitted on social media is kind of him overcompensating for his anxiety, for his own personal struggles with anxiety.
Yeah, which he opened up about very much in the last year, because he's been working so hard through the pandemic, because he worked so hard through most of the pandemic, just because he feels he has to keep working through his anxieties, but which is kind of admirable at the same time as it is kind of terrifying and depressing, but also very, very humbling to know that there's somebody out there who has the success he has that can still face these mental struggles.
Now, anyway, back to Free Guy.
Yes.
The movie where basically Ryan Reynolds becomes an internet sensation by just being a gosh darn nice guy. God, I hope with this premise it's better than. God, I hope this premise turns around better than Downsizing, where Matt Damon plays a guy who literally becomes Jesus just by being a gee willikers nice guy.
Even though we read that script and he's a fucking doormat.
Yeah. Back to Free Guy. Anyway, also along for the ride are Utkarsh Alankar. I probably butchered his pronunciation. Sorry.
We also have Joe Curry of Stranger Things, and probably the most exciting part of this entire movie is Taika Waititi is playing the bad guy, folks.
Also along for the ride, Jodie Comer and Warner as the kind of love interest, kind of. I don't know how to describe her character, but but obviously she's in there as kind of a comic foil or something. I don't know. And
then we have Lil Rel Howery playing Ryan Reynolds' character's best friend.
And probably the funniest thing, and hopefully the funniest thing he's done since Get Out.
And nothing compared to Rel, and not at all comparable to Rel. But anyway, we got a very interesting and exciting cast. We have
We have a director who has basically been cutting his teeth since the late 90s on a great fare, on fun little fare like this all the time.
And we have and we just have an amazing premise which can be done incredibly well.
The trailers on the now what I'll say, one thing about the trailers is I haven't been particularly impressed by them. Not that I'm saying they're bad, they're actually really good. They're really good trailers. It's just that I haven't found the jokes to be particular. I haven't laughed out. The jokes in the trailers haven't been laugh out loud funny for me. Now, they're fun. Don't get me wrong. I still have some pretty high hopes for this, but this isn't like Deadpool where suddenly it's like, oh my god, this is like Deadpool or Detective Pikachu where it's like, oh my god, I gotta see this now.
Yeah, but also but that can kind of give us hopes that they're not using the best jokes in the advertising.
Yeah.
Which we've gotten a lot of advertising for this because this is one of those movies that was delayed because of the pandemic.
And the only reason it's coming out as a theatrical only release is because of contractual obligation with Fox during the Disney buyout.
Yeah, this is one of the last movies that Fox produced before Disney bought them out. The other one, Death on the Nile, keeps getting pushed and is currently coming out in February.
It's getting pushed so much to the fact that they should probably reshoot certain scenes because at least one of the actors is way too problematic to probably be headlining a movie.
Yeah, but
also I think it should go without saying that this movie will be one of the last on-screen appearances of the late television icon Alex Trebek.
I'm pretty sure this is the absolute last on-screen appearance of Alex Trebek.
Unfortunately, it dates the movie very much, but obviously, since we didn't get news on who the new host of Jeopardy was going to be until literally yesterday at the time of this recording, they weren't going to be able to reshoot the footage of who would be hosting Jeopardy yet.
But it can remain as just saying goodbye to an icon of television and game shows in general.
It's basically Ryan Reynolds as one Canadian legend to pay tribute to another Canadian legend, in his own way.
Yeah.
On a less depressing note, Free Guy, we hope we're going to have fun with this. I mean, it's a dumb kid. It's a wacky kids comedy, but it doesn't seem like it's talking down to kids as far as we can see.
It's just like something that families can go see.
So hopefully we'll like it. Hopefully it'll be really good. Speaking as two casual gamers, hopefully we'll get any kinds of video games references that they throw throughout the whole thing. And yeah, and also it's Zach Penn's second video game related script in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In the last 2 or 3 years, so that's kind of an interesting thing to point out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've kind of gone on a little too long. We've gone on way too many tangents. So we'll just see you after the jump. Bye.
Bye.
So now that that's over, oh my god, that was amazing. Oh my god.
It was. But yeah, that was a good time. Don't mind him, kids. He dropped acid. He didn't drop acid. He's driving.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah. So, Free Guy probably was not a lot of people's movie of the summer contender, but I really, really, really liked that more than I expected to.
That is a really fun time. It's so fun to see, and it's a lot to do with the way that they do this movie.
So, I think we gotta get into it. I really like the way that they decided to shoot the free city sequences in this movie so that they look like this incredible mixture of Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto 5 and all that kind of stuff, where it's just this chaotic energy where there's so many background gags. There's so much going on in that opening action sequence, you don't even realize that the license plate of the car they're focusing on says Beyonce on it.
They have so much amazing Easter eggs in this, and cameo upon cameo. So many cameos we didn't even notice until the credits. Certain cameos.
Yeah. So keep an eye and an ear out for all the cameos. And also that ending, we can't even say the little idea, the little clue, because that would be giving way too much away for what exactly happens in it.
Yeah.
All we'll say is, oh my god, I can't believe they got away with that.
Yeah.
And
it's just so interesting that they got away with certain stuff. It feels like it's hard to believe that they got away with that stuff happened. But they got so much cool stuff in it, and you can tell Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy kind of emptied out their little black books to be like, hey, can you do a cameo quick? Can you just like sit in a booth for 10 minutes and do a voice?
And yeah, it's fun. The cameos are fun, but they're not the whole movie.
No,
it's not. This isn't going to get the same criticisms as Ready Player One, where it's like, where it's like the story's kind of cliche and the main character's a blank slate. You just kind of crammed as much of Warner Brothers shit as possible, especially since this is not a Warner Brothers movie.
No, but there's just some stuff in here. You know what? Not even gonna say that. But yeah, Ryan Reynolds is fantastic in this role as just this kind of plain old not laced up guy.
It really shows that he's more than Deadpool, because the difference between Deadpool and Guy is just simply Deadpool is this cocky, kind of arrogant, but you love him. It's like this bastard, but I love him.
Yeah,
of him, and this whole thing about him, who is well aware of his surroundings, who is very pop culture referencey. But Guy is Emmett from the Lego Movie. He's naive, optimistic. He doesn't understand what's going on.
He is content with the life he is living at the time of this movie.
Until this badass action girl comes in and opens his eyes. And Jodie Comer plays both the badass action girl and the quirky romantic comedy lead so perfectly in both ways that it's just amazing that she's able to pull that off.
Yeah, Joe Curry is very good in this role. We keep forgetting he's not British, but that's just on us.
That's not even his acting thing. That's just that we've seen him in so few things that we don't really know, that we keep forgetting that he's not British.
We just keep forgetting he's American. For some reason he comes off as British.
Don't know why. You just keep thinking, just see him in interviews and it's like, oh fuck, you're not British.
But it's very a Timothy Chalamet kind of thing. But the standout of this entire movie is Taika Waititi as Antoine.
And so everything we said about Don Cheadle back in our Space Jam video, take that times 100 and you're almost to as far as Taika Waititi goes with this role.
Like, Taika Waititi is going like nuts. He's having a blast. He is doing way more physicality to a character than we have probably ever seen him do.
We only did, and the main difference between him and most other characters, where they basically take a well-known comedic actor and tell him to play a human cartoon character, is that he acts like a human cartoon character, but he still has the physical limits of a real person. There's a scene where he tries to do the quick jump up, and he struggles to do it because he's held down by real world physics.
And that still doesn't stop him from being a somewhat menacing villain.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you just hold Taika Waititi's string and let him go. But then you also remember, we're in the third act. We need to actually make it feel like there's a legitimate danger radiating off of this guy.
And it's surprising to say that coming from a guy who played Hitler, but he can come off kind of like a villain. He's got this villainous energy coming off of him in the third act.
Maybe it's the fact that we live in a world now where so many billionaires are just eccentric pricks in public life, to the point that I'm pretty sure if Taika Waititi announced tomorrow that he based it off of any one of them, then it wouldn't be much of a surprise. The whole movie is just us kind of full of this quirky energy that even in the real world these characters are practically cartoons.
Yeah.
And for the record, I think this might be my favorite ending of the entire summer so far.
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling like maybe not. And also fair warning, this movie kind of has kind of a Return of the King energy, where it kind of has multiple points where it's like, okay, we can roll credits now, which not necessarily a bad thing, because this is a relatively short movie, and it's the kind that kind of leaves you wanting more.
Yeah.
But I love the ending.
The ending it's a great ending. It's not like it doesn't set up a sequel. It just is like, let this one story be a story. It's this one story.
And really, it's all it needs to be. It's and also well hidden cinematic parallels between the two stories that kind of connect and finish in the ending.
Yeah.
I really like the way this movie ended, because it builds perfectly to getting to that point.
Yeah.
And also, while the gamer humor, feels like it's laughing with, it has a nice balance of laughing with gamers and at gamers.
Yeah.
But only certain types of gamers are laughed at.
Yeah. Some of them are, let's face it, a lot of them deserve it.
A lot of the people they are punching at kind of deserve a nice taking down. The people that they're basically be making creative references to like Jacksepticeye, Pokimane, the Diamond Mayan cards, art Ninja. So many famous streamers and gamers show up in probably some of the easiest cameos that they had to shoot for this,
because they could just easily say, "Hey, pull up your gaming rig for 20 seconds and shoot us a cameo."
But it's just for even guys like us who just kind of float right up against the bubble of the gaming sphere. It's just fun to recognize these people while they're sitting there. Like, hey, there's Jacksepticeye. Hey, there's Pokimane.
Like, we know who these people are through the osmosis of the internet.
So it's just kind of fun that this is a world that they're playing around with. It's kind of like how they did it in Ralph Breaks the Internet, except they're kind of relevant more than just the internet.
Yeah. Well, just the internet in general, and in the way that, less kind of cringy way of the way Ralph Breaks the Internet did it. Not to say
Don't get us wrong. We still like Ralph Breaks the
Internet was still good. I'm just but this one did that stuff better.
Especially since it didn't draw too much attention. Like they didn't have Jacksepticeye screaming and aiming to be like, ha, he did the thing from video.
It just was there was actual cameos, and they had actual things to say and do, and the characters had and the personalities had actual things to say and do. The cameos were not just cameos for cameo's sake.
I wish I could say Christoph Beck's score is the song that's stuck in my head, but no, it's Sweet Fantasy by Mariah Carey.
Fucking Mariah Carey.
This song is 20 years old,
and it's stuck in our heads now because of this stupid movie.
And yeah, it's just so good that this movie is just a fun distraction, and it doesn't attempt to be anything more. Yeah, there's a kind of thought process of what's real, what isn't, has to be real, what doesn't. But I just really like the way that it told the story. It told the story the way it told an interesting story with fun gags. I love the fact that Ryan Reynolds played a kind of Ryan Reynolds-y role while also being completely different. It's a perfect amalgamation of Wreck-It Ralph and The Truman Show, as yes, it has probably been billed as a million times, with a little bit of They Live, just from the very fact that the sunglasses are a major plot point.
Yeah.
But it's just so fun, and the fact that, and I'm glad we could see it in a theater, because with so much of the stuff that was thrown in there, this was clearly meant to be seen in a theater, and clearly meant to be seen in a way that you don't get spoiled the morning it comes out, when someone decides to screen grab a couple of the best jokes and put them on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's very exciting that we got to see this in a theater. Obviously, not a lot of people can go to theaters right now with the things starting to pick back up with the pandemic, but if you guys can get fucking vaccinated and wear masks in public if you're not, then maybe we won't have to have a complete fucking shutdown again.
Yeah, please get vaccinated. Double shots with a mask until public regulations, until the CDC tells you not to.
And then maybe, just maybe, by the end of this year, we can get some fucking wear.
So anyway, Free Guy is amazing. It's the fact that we've just been basically gushing about it shows that Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds, their entire team, were put together a fantastic movie. I don't know how much they were really banking on on how good they really wanted to push for this, but I think they really succeeded in making a really fun action comedy for family audiences, and also just for adult audiences too, because there's a lot more adult jokes than your typical family comedy.
The sad part is we're gonna have to wait and see if this actually makes money, because again, things are getting a little crazy again, but we'll see. Hopefully people will see this, because not because we want a sequel, because it seems like they pretty much wrapped it up, but because maybe they can take this and make more original ideas like this. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's it for this time, guys. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to tune in next time when we see a movie based on the movie that's coming out next week, based on a Nickelodeon series. No, not the one you're probably thinking of. Bye.
Bye.